Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nicole Speak the Truth. Yes, I'm speaking the truth, guys. You know I have to speak the truth. So, tonight's episode is going to be based on a documentary that I saw. It was about Clarence Elkins. So, his wife is Melinda, his niece is Brooke, and his mother in law is Judith. So what happened was one night in 1998, Brooke was spending the night at her grandmother's house, Judith, and some guy came in and raped and murdered the grandmother and abused Brooke. Brooke, when she felt safe, eventually called a family member, and then she eventually ran a couple of doors down to a neighbor house. And remember this neighbor, because we're going to get back to this neighbor. The neighbor does not call 911. The neighbor doesn't even let her in the house. And Brooke was actually all bloody because the guy beat her up. She hurry up and drive her to Brooke mom's house. And Brooke mom is the one that calls 911. So she tells the cops, and the neighbor claims she also told her that it looked like it could be her Uncle Clarence, right? So there was no evidence that really pointed to Clarence at all. Actually, Clarence had an airtight alibi, which is crazy when you think about it. Very airtight alibi. He was out with his friends, and then he came home. The wife corroborated this. The friends corroborate this story. It was impossible for him to really do this crime. But because the 6-year-old niece, Brooke, said that it looked like him, they went on and convicted him. He ended up spending almost 10 years in jail. Actually, he was convicted of serving 2 life sentences for the murder and attempted murder of the niece, of murder for the grandmother, Judith, and the attempted murder of Brooke, the niece. His wife, Clarence's wife, Melinda, actually supported him the whole time. She knew he did not do it. But because her family didn't want to have nothing to do with her, because they were at the time wanted to believe Clarence did it, and then Clarence's family didn't want to have nothing to do with the Melinda because they was mad that it was Melinda family that put Clarence in jail. So she really was alone raising 2 kids by herself. So finally, after she got herself and her kids really together, this is when she started fighting for his innocence. Let me tell you something. She went out doing the jobs of the prosecutor and the detectives and the judge, really the prosecutor and the detective, because nobody wanted to help her anyway. So she finally was able to get in contact with the Innocence Project. So they worked on this case for a very long time to try to prove that he was innocent. The Innocence Project really believed he was innocent from day one. They tried to reach out to the prosecutors, and the prosecutors would not listen at all. They didn't even want to hear nothing. Even when they tested the DNA and found out there is no way that Clarence could have committed this crime because his DNA did not match. Guess what? They still did not want to listen at all. So what it ended up taking, which I don't want to say luck because I believe it was God, but some people might say it was luck, some people might say it's coincidence, but according to Gibbs from NCIS, there's no such thing as coincidence, right? After all the DNA testing, because the wife went out to a lot of places getting people DNA to get it tested, and so all of this costs money and time, right? She finally realized that the neighbor did not even do anything right. If a 6-year-old come to you bloody, when you call 911, of course you would. So she thought that was kind of suspicious. Come to find out, Melinda finds out that this neighbor actually had a man that was staying with her at the time named Earl Mann. He was on the sex offender list. Also, she also went back and remembered a comment that the niece actually made when she actually saw pictures of her Uncle Clarence again. She realized her Uncle Clarence doesn't have the same eyes that she was telling the cops that the killer had. So all of this is what really made even Melinda family really believe now that Clarence did not do this at all. So all of them really fought together to really prove his innocence. So come to find out, this is why I say, depending on how you look at it, you could say it was luck or coincidence, or you could say it was God. I want to say it was God. Earl was actually in the same prison with Clarence. So what did Clarence do? Clarence saw Earl smoking a cigarette, took his cigarette with a tissue, and mailed it out to Melinda in an Innocence Project so they could test the DNA. Guess who DNA was a perfect match? Earl Mann. There's no way Clarence could have did it or anyone else could have did it. Oh, guess what? Did the prosecutor and judge let him out even with that? Of course they did not. But here's what I feel like that happened. They eventually claimed that they let him out because Earl started making incriminating statements. I believe that's some bullcrap. What I think really happened is that they was afraid that Melinda and the Innocence Project and Clarence going to make a major fuss about the DNA evidence, so they pretend like Earl said something that corroborated the DNA evidence, so they let Clarence out. This is very unacceptable, okay? Clarence in jail for years, and the prosecutors and the judge knew he did not do this. They was not stupid, okay? They know, and the detectives, they all knew there is no way in hell Clarence committed this crime. They knew that. And they did not care. They put him in jail anyway because he was easier to get to and they wanted to solve this case. So, they settled for the kid. They hurry up and gave him $1.1 million. Like, that's doing something. All that years he spent in jail, you give him $1.1 million. Then he also still sued the detective and other people, and then they also settled for another $5.3 million. So, that's what they do. After they put you in jail for something you didn't do for all these years, they throw you money and expect for you to shut the hell up. That's unacceptable. We always say the system is broken, but really the system is just plain evil. Because if it was not for Melinda and the Innocence Project, Clarence will still be in jail all this years, and Earl will be out, and probably after he got out of jail for whatever he was in there for this time, he would have been committing more crimes. Ain't that something? So the only reason why Clarence is out of jail, this is why I say you could say it's luck, or or you could say it was God, is because Earl was actually in jail the same time frame as Clarence, which allowed Clarence to get his DNA. And for his wife Melinda and the Innocence Project to really stay on top of this and be able to keep testing DNA and doing all this stuff. The system is so broken. I felt so bad for Clarence. And I felt like Brooke and everybody was failed. I mean, how can you say you for the victims and you doing everything in your power to be for the criminals? And you a criminal yourself. As a prosecutor and a judge, and you know very well somebody's innocent in jail and you keep allowing them to stay in there, you are just as guilty as the criminal. Okay? The fact that you kept fighting every turn to not even get that DNA test. If you really believe that Clarence was guilty, why you didn't test the DNA? Why? Because the point is you knew he was innocent. You knew the DNA test was going to prove that he was innocent. This is why they kept blocking it. See, here's the thing. If DNA came back and it's actually a person, we're not talking about you. You guilty. We ain't got time to hear you innocent. But when there's a major possibility that these people really didn't commit these crimes, why is the prosecutor and the judge doing everything in their power to make sure this DNA and evidence do not get tested and do not be heard? Why would you want to keep somebody innocent in jail? What kind of person are you? How do you sleep at night knowing you have power to do the right thing and you constantly do the wrong thing? The system is forever broken, and I'm so sick of the system. I'm so sick of you guys picking and choosing what case you want to prosecute because you care about your conviction rate. I'm so sick and tired of you keeping innocent people in jail because y'all don't even want to admit that you're wrong. This is unacceptable, and I'm so sick of it. And I told you guys I'm going to speak the truth because I'm going to speak the truth. What? Alright guys, so that is my speaking the truth on this story. I mean, I'm so glad Clarence is out of jail. I mean, it's sad that it took all these years and no help from the system that's supposed to really be for the victim, but they really was for the criminal and themselves. It's not fair because we got so many other innocent men and women that's in jail to this day, and they will most likely never get out, or it would take years to get them out, all because the judge and the prosecutors are doing everything in their power to block evidence to be tested, and they don't want to hear things. And also, I will also want to say this too. if you a person that lied and say somebody did something they didn't do, you are just as guilty. Now, some people may say, well, detectives sometimes threaten people and they say, listen, if you don't want to go to jail for this, you better say this person do it. But I don't know what to do in this situation, but all I would say is find a way to not have somebody innocent in jail because you're so afraid. Because that is not fair. Because by the time you come out and years later and decide you want to tell the truth, it's too late. Because now who's going to judge and the prosecutors don't want to admit they wrong, so they not going to really do anything. This is unacceptable. And we've seen this so many times when witnesses recant their story and still nobody can get out of jail because no one want to own up to they was wrong. It's crazy. But my prayers not only go out to Clarence and the family. By the way, Earl he actually decided to plead guilty when he realized he'd get the death penalty. So now he's in jail serving his life sentence. Honestly, I don't like him. I feel he's so evil. The fact that he was smirking while the family was speaking to him about how he devastated them is unacceptable. He just evil. That woman of his need to go to jail too because she sat up there and knew that this man raped and murdered a grandmother and then abused the niece and then let another innocent man go to jail. So both of them are evil. She need to go to jail too. Both of them going to be in hell at the end of the day. So that is my speak the truth. Thank you for watching. Wish you the best.